Welcome to the review of Season 4, Episode 12 of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. This was a pretty eventful episode, Jimmy. What did you think about it in one word?
Best episode yet. Oh, that's full. Best episode yet. 33 words. Pretty good episode. Pretty dang snappy.
There was a lot to it, and it really cut to the chase at the very beginning. So the show actually opens up, and I'm going to share my screen here because I'm just going to go straight into it. So the episode opens up with two Chinook helicopters flying decently low to the ground over Skinwalker Ranch, and the team said it looked like it was sweeping the property. But also, I mean, they also mentioned this in this episode. This isn't the first time that something like this has happened. It's happened earlier this season as well. And these were completely blacked out Chinook helicopters. They weren't transponding, which isn't anything new when it comes to Skinwalker Ranch. But with this particular scene is, you know what, Jimmy? Actually, I'm going to let you go what you want to say about this before I go ahead and share my screen with another picture.
Okay, this was this episode was so good. I almost forgot about this opening scene because that's how good this episode was. But this was pretty interesting. We've got to take one thing into context here, and that is the remote location of Skinwalker Ranch. So for two Chinooks, which are massive, and they hold a lot of people too, that doesn't mean that there's a lot of people on board. There could be equipment on board. I don't know. But for them to fly that low directly over Skinwalker Ranch, that's pretty alarming. I mean, I would freak out, and it's just a remote location. There's one point, and then I'll flip it back to you. I'm going to see the next image. The point that was made in the show is that that's an expensive flight.
Right.
You have to pay for fuel. You know, you've got time, you've got ground crews, you got everything. What's the purpose of it? You know, that's an actual mission. And these things, they flew right over Skinwalker Ranch. So, yeah.
They did. And
pretty trippy for a reason. I just don't know what the reason is.
And Brandon said, quote, "The closer we are getting to the answers, the more evaluated military surveillance becomes." And that was really interesting. And the first thing that came to mind before I share this next image was, if these Chinook helicopters are by any chance supposed to be stealthy, which, by the way, they are huge, they are incredibly loud, and you can see them a mile away. But the thing is that they could have flown over the area any time of the year, but they had to do it during the summer while filming. And I found that really odd. And there could be so many messages in that. There could be so many possible reasons. We don't know what those could be, but I've found really odd. And Mark, thank you so much for that. Hey, Chris and Jimmy, I am super happy that I could catch your live stream. My schedule has been really busy, and it's been hard for me to catch your live streams. Please keep up the excellent work. Thank you, Mark. Tasaka. Appreciate that. So I'm going to share this next image that was actually on the Insiders program for people that want to get a better look at Skinwalker Ranch, what they're doing behind the scenes, really. Why is it like freaking out like that? Hold on. One insider blew up the image, and I don't know why my laptop is spazzing. And of the Chinook helicopter.
It's Skinwalker Ranch, Cristina. Come on.
And they captured this, and my laptop is spazzing. Okay, here it is. All right, pull this up. Okay, so an insider blew up the video footage, took a picture, and you're able to see two people inside of the Chinook with the door down. And I went ahead and I looked into
that one guy looks like he's got
holding
a camera.
Equipment. That's right. And so I looked up, why would rear doors be open in flight? right? And there were some plausible reasons. And typically the rear doors open in flight for a few different reasons. One of them being to like airdrop supplies or to allow for quick landing and to disembark or to embark personnel as well. But
Sure.
I mean, these are like the mundane explanations that you can probably find on any website. But this in particular, for these two people to have the doors open at the very back, right? And be like being out there. First of
They're
all,
observing.
yes,
They're observing. Okay. So look, they brought in again what the Attorney General, right, of the
right.
state of Utah. He's upset. He's going to look back into this. It could be, it could be something as simple as this, right? Air National Guard got some time to kill. They're out flying the Chinooks, and they go, you know what, man? Let's Skinwalker Ranch is right over here. Let's go.
Let's go on a field trip.
Yeah, maybe it was some sightseeing. Maybe it's something like that. But there's no question that two Chinooks at very low altitude were flying around and above Skinwalker Ranch. And if I'm the Attorney General, and this show featured Brandon Fugel, right? So Brandon, which we don't get enough of him on the show. Today he was there witnessing all this stuff firsthand, and Brandon, he's got the connections in the state of Utah. So the Attorney General, there he is. There, what's his name?
This is Attorney General Reyes.
Yeah, Attorney General Reyes. I think he's upset, and I don't think this is the first time he's had to go, and he's been tasked with trying to find out who was flying over Skinwalker Ranch in his state.
It is odd. And he mentioned in the episode saying, I will keep my promise and I will look into this, like how I did previously. And earlier in the season, he was able to kind of provide some information. He wasn't able to provide names, but where the previous helicopter came from and all of that fun stuff. In this case, we weren't able to get those answers in this episode. Will we get it in the next episode? I'd like to. That would be really fantastic. But for the time being, there's a lot of mystery. This whole episode, especially this scene with the helicopters, is shrouded in mystery. What are they doing there? Why are they there? Why were they potentially surveilling the ranch? Because let's back it up, Jimmy. And this was also kind of bothering me here. And that was, look, if they wanted to survey the ranch, they could have bought it from Bigelow, but they didn't. Instead, they are allowing another team to do all of the hard work, and then they're kind of surveilling over that. But Brandon had said, and I'm going to repeat that quote, the closer that they are getting to the answers, the more evaluated military surveillance becomes. And
It seems that way. It seems that way. And back to your point. Let's not let this get away from us. Chinooks are not stealthy. They're not quiet. They're not small. These things are huge. They are loud. They are offensive. And you're not hiding the fact that you're flying over, the the Skinwalker Ranch with a couple of Chinooks. It's like they wanted to be seen because, like I said, it's not a stealthy, quiet thing. No, Chinooks are loud. You hear them from miles away, and then you bring in two at that low of an altitude. Somebody is not hiding the fact that they're surveilling the property there. It's very interesting.
They could have used any other helicopter, but these Chinooks are huge. They are meant to transport big pieces of equipment, boats, all these other different things, a bunch of people as well.
Humvees,
Exactly. All of these different things. But if you wanted to do a casual stealth mission, you'd bring in a black helicopter, something really, really small. But in this case, it's just odd, and we don't have the answers. All we can do is speculate, just like the rest of the team. They were dumbfounded. They were like, what's going on here? Why are we being surveilled again? And why with these ginormous helicopters? Eric mentioned in the episode that these were flying so low that the ground was rumbling. That's not very stealthy to me.
No. Chinooks are not stealthy. No, you're making one of those characters in the back on the tailgate. He definitely looks like he's got a pair of binoculars or video equipment or something, and he is looking at the ranch. That's a great capture by one of the insiders.
Oh, absolutely. I was like, more power to him. That is amazing. That's the great thing about the insiders is that you have so many different eyes looking at different things that maybe you and I don't catch. So you're able to see that here. Again, you have one person, even another person that has their hands up towards their face. Now, can you see what they're holding? No, but it does look as if they are holding possibly binoculars or
Yeah,
something of the sort.
and you know what's funny is this turned out to be the helicopter episode of Skinwalker Ranch. Okay. So I'm looking at the clock. We've got so much to cover. What's next?
So, following the order, after these Chinook helicopters make their way through the ranch, through the triangle, and then exiting off through the east field, which they were really stressing because that area is very notorious. It is very strange. They have captured a lot of strange things on that side of the ranch. So as those helicopters pass by, the team decides to conduct an experiment over the triangle using, of course, rockets, and to have a whole helicopter team as well with Cameron Fugel, the pilot, Caleb, Eric, and Brandon to see if they would catch anything weird happening while Travis and Dragon and Thomas were launching rockets. So I'm going to pull up this image here. Here it is, because it is pretty cool on how it worked. Because in this particular experiment, what they were doing, they were shooting two rockets from two different locations simultaneously over the triangle to see what would happen. Eric had said that in this episode that they were measuring to see if anything anomalous would happen during this time. Now, I will say this is the first time I believe that every rocket launch went incredibly smooth.
Yeah, apparently so. I mean, that could be creative editing, but nonetheless, everything launched, and they did two launches. This is one. So they did one launch that went straight up, and they did another one, which was really cool, by the way, shooting it across the ground instead of shooting it up. And to watch that thing fire across the landscape that close to the ground, I got to say, that was pretty cool.
It was. And they didn't see anything really that strange for the time being. They were launching these rockets from like the evening while the sun was still out until nightfall. But then, as night begins to fall and they're still launching these rockets simultaneously from two different areas over the triangle, they see an orange orb over the area, and everyone saw it. So
Dun.
dun. So you have the whole team in the helicopter. They come back down. Brandon is able to see this orb. Dragon, Thomas, Travis, all of them, and they all whip out their phones and they're trying to record this. I do have that image here. I know it's a blob to us, but to them, with the naked eye, it was orange. We're seeing this probably in night vision. But what they had mentioned was that it was moving quickly. It says here it's moving south quickly.
Right. And it sped up, and it also turned, apparently. Travis says in the show it made a dog leg. And a dog leg is this, the shape of a dog leg.
Okay, see, I had no idea what that meant.
Yeah, it's a term from golf. So obviously Travis plays golf. When you're hitting a golf ball, okay, so this is a good example of the trajectory of this orange orb. When you hit a golf ball from a tee, the fairway is sometimes described as a dog leg left or a dog leg right. Okay, so you're going to go out and then you're either going to go left or you're going to go right. And that's what happens here. Travis says it made a dog leg turn. So it's going up and then changes direction and goes in the other way. That's a dog leg.
Thank you for explaining that, because I think I'm not the only one that didn't
Yeah,
understand
yeah, yeah.
that
You got to
term.
play golf. You got to play golf.
Yeah.
Owning a dog is not going to help with this. But so anyway, it sped up and it changed directions.
Right, it did. I would like to state that seeing orange orbs isn't anything that wild. This has happened before all across the globe, specifically in September of 2022, from Tijuana, Mexico to North San Diego County, California. Witnesses saw these like mysterious orange orbs in the sky hovering. And that's just one example of many. And people have these questions in the UFO community. Ask, do different colors mean different things, either
Mhm.
for the different type of craft, maybe a different type of civilization? Is it man-made? What do these colors really mean? Does it mean anything to us? Does it mean something to them? Or when they're communicating to each other in the sky, the same thing that our typical aviation craft have? They have colors and they signify something very specific and usually very important. And so with this orange orb, it's pretty weird. A few weeks back, they saw a purple one,
Mhm.
purple blue one. They've seen yellow ones, they've seen green, they've seen an array of different color orbs on that ranch. And it makes you question, what does it mean, if anything? Or am I just thinking a little bit too crazy and it means absolutely nothing?
No, it obviously means something. And when colors are brought up, certainly with orbs, with me, with the people that I interact with, they're very interested in the color. Right, that's the first thing. I saw an orb. What color was it? And blue, it means something. Red means something. White means something. A gray, green, orange, to the people that are seeing them. Now, what is the significance of it? I don't know. But when you have a situation like this where it's an orange, we have to remember, and Cameron brings this up in the show, Christina, aircraft lights. Well, we know what those are, right?
Right.
And orange isn't one of them, number one. And number two, if you're going to have an orange light on the aircraft, where are the other aircraft lights that we typically see? And that it wasn't included here. It's just an orange ball of light. So again, I don't know what it was. The timing of it again was strange, like everything at Skinwalker Ranch. But it was orange without aircraft lights.
It was, and it wasn't transponding. Eric ran to the command center. He went to go take a look, and he didn't see anything on his aviation map. There was nothing there. So that was also something that is worth mentioning. And Ray, thank you so much for supporting the channel. I do appreciate that. Well, after the whole helicopter team lands, they see this orb, they go to command center. They continue on with their experiment. So that team again, which is Brandon, Eric, Caleb, and Cameron Fugel, Brandon's brother, who's also the pilot, go back into the helicopter and they continue to conduct this experiment of launching rockets over the triangle to see what would happen. Now, I really like that in this episode, we were able to see, the audience was able to see a consistent amount of tests of the same type of test over and over again. I really, really liked that the production team made that creative decision to allow us to see them do that from the time the sun was up to the time that the sun went down. And in this instance, it began to get weird. First off, we are aware that Cameron, where's my, I don't know why my laptop is just being weird. Okay, so in this second hand of experiments, Cameron is wearing night vision goggles that They are called NVG technology, which is a military grade goggles that are able to see in night vision, but also in infrared as well. And they go at about 10,000 feet. So, as the team on the ground is still launching rockets, they're trying to see if anything is measurable. If they're able to see any objects. Eric had said this in this episode. And at first, everything seemed a-okay, but what Cameron noticed while he had these goggles on, he was the only person to see orbs coming at really, really close proximity to the helicopter, which is scary for any pilot. Just like when you're driving your car, right? Anything that's a little too close, it makes you nervous. It's terrifying.
So he's wearing a monocular, right? It's on his left eye. He's piloting. Don't worry, everybody. It's not like he's flying the helicopter with both eyes covered. He's got it on one eye, and he's flying the helicopter with the other eye. And he's watching these orbs zip by, and there's another one, and some are flying below, but nobody could see them but him. At the same time, in the back seat, the lead investigator, what's his name?
Eric Bard.
Yeah, Eric. Eric starts getting radio interference, RF interference on all of the bands, and everything is coming in as static. And so that's happening. The orbs are going on. They're firing the rockets below. All of this happening at the same time. And then before we run out of time, so much happened here. Brandon said that he started to experience chest compressions, and that everybody on the helicopter was experiencing the same thing. Now, Brandon said, I don't know if I should be, I'm paraphrasing here. I don't know if I should be happy or terrified right now, with everything that is, I'm uncomfortable. There it is. And he's right. You've got your brother, Cameron, who's the pilot of the helicopter. You're firing these things below. Your brother, who is a great pilot, sitting next to you, he's seeing stuff fly by the aircraft. You've got Eric in the back seat going, man, I've got radio interference on all of these bands, and it's like something is jamming the frequencies. And he had never been through anything like that before. That was very interesting. And then for me, Cristina, I'll hand it back to you. But when they get back to the command center, after all of this drama, nobody is seeing the orbs from below. They're talking about the orbs from the helicopter, but nobody from the ground is seeing anything. Cameron is the only one with his night vision. Now, I have night vision. I see things all the time in night vision that are very mundane. Insects, birds, things at night that you can't see with the naked eye, but you can see it with the night vision. For sure. Okay. Now, is that what, and during this part of the episode, is that what is going on with Cameron?
Well, in this instance, Jimmy, the orbs that he was seeing, they were at 10,000 feet above the ground.
And then they lowered the helicopter to 4,000 feet, and 4,500 feet still occurred. So, but I'm saying that at that point of the show, is he seeing something natural? If he's wearing night vision and flying the helicopter for the first time, maybe this is going on all the time and he doesn't know. He isn't able to see it. I don't know any of those things. But when they get back to the command center and they start reviewing the video footage, that's, for me, when Crazy Town started. It was nuts.
It was. Now, I just went ahead and I quickly Googled, how high can a bird fly? Depending on the bird, they go at different heights, of course. But I thought, okay, like your most common bird's going to be a crow, right? Crow, pigeons, that's going to be your basic thing. So I went ahead and I looked that up. And a crow can go about 1,000 feet above the ground to fly.
I didn't know that.
That's average.
That's good.
I thought I would look that up. Now, bugs, they do not even get close to that high. But in this case, Cameron was seeing these really weird orbs at 10,000 feet. Nothing. Right. No natural thing is going to go that high. And for him to see it and for no one else to see it.
What about a hawk? I wonder how high a hawk can fly?
A hawk can fly between 10 and 15,000 feet.
Okay. I'm not saying no, but okay. When we, all I am saying is at that point of the show, I'm wondering if he's just seeing stuff that's flying around that nobody else can see because he has night vision on. But like I said, they go to the command center, and that's
But
one crazy
even
time.
if that were the case, Jimmy, because I want to stick on this, even if that was the case, it was like a mundane bird, they wouldn't fly that close to the helicopter, making too much noise. It's moving too fast. It's too dangerous
Well,
for birds. They're probably aware of that. Probably, I'm guessing here. Now, crows, they're incredibly intelligent. They have a brain capacity of a 7-year-old. Wild stuff. But I'm thinking here, and Cameron later mentioned when they go to command center that these, based off of his understanding of his helicopter, he's had so many flight hours under his belt. He mentioned that at the speed that they were going at, it's very possible that these orbs were stationary while the helicopter was moving forward. Birds, to my understanding, don't do that. But continuing on with this, what's really important is during the time that there is RF interference, during the time a little bit after the orbs are seen, they all begin to feel incredibly uncomfortable. They have this clenching in their chest, this pressure, this level of anxiety, all of these different things. And it was a fight or flight type of mentality. So they go ahead, they land the helicopter, they tell Travis, and Travis says, "It's really interesting, guys, that you had this at the same time simultaneously, this RF interference with this feeling of being uneasy, of having these levels of anxiety." Because our ears are pretty sensitive to different frequencies, in the sense of there are certain sounds that make us feel very uneasy while others make us feel very happy. And this is the art of sound. This has been studied for quite some time, which is something that if you haven't looked into, I think it is very cool. It's like, nature noises, white noise, ASMR, these kinds of things, versus casually listening to someone scratching a blackboard or chewing really loud or snoring. We don't like those sounds. We like the very calm, chill sounds, and they make us feel different ways. So Travis was saying, what if you were getting hit by some type of frequency that was making you feel uneasy and also affecting the technology?
Right.
And I was like, huh, I really like the connection between the two. Now, is that the case? There was a high possibility, but we don't know at this point in time.
Yeah, all interesting points. And I am very informed and knowledgeable when it comes to sound and its effects on people and myself personally. It's what I do, and Travis is absolutely right with that. So now this is okay. When they get back to the command center, and this is a shot from a GoPro underneath the helicopter. Now, while all of this stuff is going on, Eric Bard catches this orb off in the distance. This is on video, flying with a downward angle trajectory. Now, what was interesting here, the first part of it, was that okay, they've caught this white object, don't know what it is, and it appears to fly directly into the mesa. All right, pretty cool. It's the video that you continue to watch, which I think is one of the most mind-blowing things I've ever seen. I don't have an explanation for it. I don't know. So let's continue. What happens next?
Well, after they are reviewing the data that they collected during the experiment, launching rockets, being in the helicopter, collecting all of the camera footage, Eric realized while with this particular camera that was attached to the helicopter that there was this white object, this white orb. I don't know what it was really, that flew either into or behind the mesa. And this solidifies for a lot of people the rumor that they've heard about Skinwalker Ranch when it comes to Skinwalker Ridge or the mesa here, where there are objects that come in and out. Well, there was another video that was captured from the helicopter where, and they were so excited about this, and I do not blame them. This is so cool. They saw this super bright looking white object come out of the mesa. There was no other explanation from the footage that they collected from this one camera that this object was coming out of the mesa. It wasn't coming into frame from the side or anything. They captured it coming right out of there. And that was wild. And again, they had said this in the episode. This just solidifies the rumors when it comes to the mesa. Weird objects coming in and out that have been shared for centuries. This isn't anything new, but for them to capture it, you can take it or leave it. You can believe it, you can't, it doesn't matter. The thing is that they captured something very obscure, and then the audience, the millions of people that are watching this show, are thinking outside the box and saying, what if? And that's the biggest thing and the most exciting thing about this particular scene from this episode is the questions that people are asking themselves, thinking outside of the box.
Yeah. Now, to be clear here, and I'm watching the comments in the chat, everybody has to understand one piece of video footage, one camera, GoPro, keep this image up on the screen. Okay, don't stop. No, bring it up. Okay, so the orb comes into the mesa in the background and then comes out of the mesa here. Does everybody understand? It is footage of something that appears to go through the rocks of the mesa. Okay, so it comes down. You have to see the entire piece of footage here. We're looking at 2 frames. It comes down into the mesa. At that point, a little light flashes on the front of the mesa, which was pretty bizarre, by the way. And then, boom, same trajectory, same line. It appears to be the same object. Now, is this all a coincidence? I can't make any sense of this. When I look at this video, what I see is an object come down out of the sky, fly through the mesa, and then come out and continue. It could be a weird coincidence. It could be a bird flying down and then a bird flying out. I have 2 different birds. I don't know. It appears to me that this object, and I'm in agreement with everybody here, if we take the video footage as what it is, this object comes down, flies through the mesa, and they happen to catch it on video. Now, I know it sounds incredible. I know. I sound like a crazy person, but that's what the video shows.
Right. And Cindy says here, the light that came out of the mesa as it draws closer looks like a bird with wings flapping. And thank you, Cindy, for that. And this is something that I think that people, including myself, need to look deeper into to see if we can see those flaps, because then that would be instantly debunked if that's the case. And there is nothing wrong with footage being debunked. It's very healthy. It needs to be done in this field, because if you just believe everything, oh my gosh, it's paranormal, we're not going to get anywhere. We're not going to progress in this field, and we will not be taken seriously. But if we look with the skeptical eye, with a skeptical mindset, and say, well, you know what, I think this because of ABC, that's great. But if you don't bring evidence to back up your claim or your opinion, then it has no value.
Yeah, it has no value, but and you're right about that. And we always need to, you got to stay in the middle here.
You do.
You got to stay in the middle.
Be on the fence.
You got to be on the fence. But if that's a bird that coming out of the mesa, it was shot out of a cannon, because that thing just goes pew in a straight line. So again, I want everybody to understand this object comes down at an angle, disappears into the mesa, and then another object, maybe the same one, It looks the same, acting the same piece of video footage, then appears to come out of the mesa and shoot across the ground. I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, I was blown away by this. Like I said, once I saw this footage, I forgot about the Chinooks. I forgot about Cameron and his orbs. I forgot about Eric Bard and his laptop. I forgot about Brandon and his chest compressions. I forgot about the orange orb. I forgot about all that stuff. This piece of footage needs to be studied and looked at. It's pretty crazy that they actually caught this.
It is. It's very, very cool. And again, this is a show where people can make up their own minds on what they think is going on. And that should be the case for all TV shows, all shows that you watch. You should decide on your own what you think about it. And that's what I love about the show that we do together, Jimmy, is that we're not forcing people to believe one thing or the other. We are providing information and people can say, oh, yeah, I agree. Or, you know what, guys, I'm not really agreeing with you. And that's what makes a very healthy community, a very important community where we all have different opinions, just like you and I, Jimmy. We don't always agree on things, but we're able to talk it out and be like, okay, I can see where you're coming from. I can understand your standpoint, but ... Right? Well, as this episode closes, Travis states for their next experiment that they practically want to blitz the place. They want to bring everything. They want to just light up the triangle and see what happens. And let me tell you, I am mega excited. I don't know how they're going to top last week's episode with the flamethrower and the Tesla coil, because that was pretty exciting. I'm not sure how they're going to top that up with blitzing this triangle for next week. Hopefully it's next week. But
Boys and their toys. Boys and their toys. You know, they're going to bring in like a monster truck.
I'm in. Why not?
With a flamethrower in the back. And yeah, right? Hey, this to me, I didn't ask you. I said at the beginning of the show, this is one of my favorite episodes. It was pretty good. And it was the ending for me, that video footage that put the icing on the cake. Very, very interesting capture. But I didn't ask you, where's your ranking on your 1 to 10 scale with this episode?
For this week's episode, I think I'll have to give it a 7. I think it was good.
Why is that?
Okay, see, it would be an instant 10 if there were portals. Instant 10.
Or even there was nothing but portal talk.
That was not in this episode, but it was a great episode filled with some really fantastic experiments where they were able to replicate it. We were able to see that. So I felt like it ranks pretty high in my levels of episodes. I already enjoyed this one, but it's not a 10 until we get portals.
I'm 9.5. I'm not full 10. I'm not full 10.
That 10.
We've got to, getting to 10 is tough. But we've got to see some more analysis on that last piece of GoPro footage because if it is what it is, somebody's got some splaining to do.
We do.
Cristina, and thank you so much. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Yes, we're going to wrap this up in just a moment. But Cosmic Dave, thank you. He says, I know real orbs can use
neutrinos.
Thank you. Neutrinos as an energy source that can pass through matter. The Russian ET all know this 40 years ago. It's a natural electrostatics phenomena, but can be man-made too. Interesting point. Thank you for that.
The only issue with that, and he is correct, neutrinos pass through the Earth every day. They're passing through the Earth right now, but they're also traveling faster than the speed of light. And we're doing our best to capture neutrinos, right? And there's lots of experiments that are doing this, and we're trying to do that, but we're not going to get it on a GoPro. it's that ain't happening. And so there you go. But yeah, neutrinos do pass through the Earth, and they're that small and that fast. So there you go. Cristina, another great, amazing episode. I can't wait for next week. We've only got 2 episodes left?
2 more episodes. That's right. For the season of season 4.
I'm going to be so bummed out. What are we going to do?
We'll have to plan it out as the show ends.
We have to have another show to review.
Android says Boeing makes Chinooks. Maybe it's Boeing flying over. Interesting.
Oh, well, it could be. That was a pretty good capture. The dude with the camera.
It was. It's got some good eyes. But that is it for today. We'll see you guys tomorrow.